Although pundits and propagandists seldom define it, terrorism is violence or the threat of violence directed at civilians for political purposes. Given all the civilians the Reaper displaces, maims, or kills, its attacks are the very essence of terrorism. Such calculated, premeditated killing exposes the vast hypocrisy of the so-called war on terrorism. When it strikes, the Reaper generates enormous resentment toward the U.S. The Reaper, while tactically smart, is strategically stupid. It undermines any hearts and minds approach to insurgency. Drone strikes may be Al-Qaeda's most powerful recruiting pitch. Drones don't save lives, as some claim. They perpetuate the killing. Blowback from drone terrorism makes us all less safe. Others have spoken of DeWitt, how we are here in the war zone because of what's being perpetrated at Hancock Air Base. Drone technology is evolving and proliferating at an even faster pace than nuclear weaponry. Over 40 nations are now importing or developing the drone. One day, one of these nations may decide the world would be better off without Hancock Field and its chain of command. Domestically, police agencies and the Pentagon use drones to surveil U.S. borders and are now finagling to surveil U.S. citizens. We really want the armed forces and the government to have such powerful tools. Tools that can be used against any of us. The Pentagon's romance with deadly robotic aircraft calls to mind Martin Luther King's 1967 statement that the U.S. government is itself, quote, the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, unquote. Not long after this speech, King, already under close surveillance, was assassinated. This evening I've sat here for several hours. I've heard you refer to our action on April 22nd out of Hancock Air Base as civil disobedience. I can't speak for the others here, but I did not commit civil disobedience. I was acting in conformance with what I understand to be the law of our land, international law, 6th Article of the Constitution. I was also participating in an effort to petition my government for the redress of a very severe grievance. I broke no law. I don't think any of my colleagues here broke any law. I don't understand why we're even in this court. And as I listen to your sentences, I can't find it within me, although I've been thinking about this for 3 hours, what connection a $250 fine has, or a court cost, or for a few of us, some time in jail. What connection that has with justice? I don't know. Maybe you've thought about the law an enormous amount. I know that. I've seen this in court. You're a very thoughtful person. But can you tell me what connection there is between justice and these sentences this evening?
Continue.
Your Honor, I'm asking you a question.
I'm listening to each and every individual, and I'm meeting out the sentence which I feel is appropriate.
But does it have any connection to justice?
It depends what your definition of justice is.
The furtherance of life?
I can assure you that I share a lot of your thoughts relative to the issues that you're raising. However, I have the other duty before me, which is the charge that's before this court, and to meet out within the confines of what the law prescribes, to meet out an appropriate sentence. Do you think I enjoy living near Ground Zero?
most folks living near ground zero here are oblivious to it. And they continue to be oblivious unless folks like ourselves try to make an issue of it.
And I understand that, and there's a message to be had here, but it's going to take other actions to correct what you're, the redress you're asking for. It's not going to happen out of this case. There's tribunals that can be addressed to address those concerns.
You're our tribunal
On this case.
on this case,
Correct.
and perhaps for some subsequent cases as well.
Or it could be Judge Jofu, who will share in the point I'm getting at, however, is that the international law issues that you're raising relative to stopping what's going on need an international tribunal to address it.
I respectfully, sir, I question that. I think the law of the land applies right here in the town of DeWitt to this tribunal.
Do you believe that I can order the President of the United States as part of this case to stop sending up the drones?
I'm sorry.
Do you believe I have the power to do that under the law?
I think you have the power to see that what we did was not illegal and to exonerate us for that. And I say that with no fear whatsoever of going to jail.
No, I understand that, and I'm trying to address the concerns. As I said in my decision, this has not been an easy decision for me. But I feel that I am charged with a specific obligation, just as I would have charged the jury under the law, to charge a certain way. And within those confines, I've taken an oath to apply the facts against the law as it's written.
And did not that oath include upholding the Constitution of the United States?
Correct. And there may be a question of whether or not, I know what your position is relative to those Nuremberg principles, that they're incorporated to that charter, to the Nuremberg Charter Agreement.
Part of our law of our land.
That's your argument on it. I understand that.
Am I
It
mistaken?
may not be correct, and if you want to appeal me, I may be wrong on the interpretation. That's why I put it in the decision. And a higher court may reverse me on the issue. But I've applied it as I feel it's appropriate, given all the confines within this case. Is there anything further you'd like to say?
No. Well, let me add that, like many of my predecessors this evening, I do not intend to pay a fine for a crime I did not commit. I see no connection between a fine and justice. And like my predecessors, most of them, the work I do, which currently focuses on helping to educate the public about the journalism, it is public service. So it's not a meaningful penalty to be asked to do public service.
So not for profit.
Okay. Sentence and judgment in this court, we're going to sentence concurrently and disorderly conduct to 1 year condition of discharge, conditions being stay out of further trouble with the law. I am going to impose 25 hours community service with proof on or before 2/29/2012 at 5 o'clock p.m. $250 fine or $25 surcharge is imposed. I am serving you with a summons with notice that if it's a willful failure not to pay, then it will be converted to a civil judgment. You have a right to appeal the decision and judgment of this court. If you wish to do that, you have to file a notice of appeal with this court within 30 days in duplicate, and then you would perfect your appeal at the county court level, where you would file form for the notice of appeal and you can't find it there, we do have them here at this court.
Your Honor, a question. For several of the previous defendants, you mentioned their priors, or their lack thereof. I happen to have quite a few priors.
I was looking at that. I was looking at that. I understand what you're espousing here today. And I've given you, in my own mind, credit for that, as in figuring out the appropriate sentence here. Obviously, if you're not going to do the community service, it's going to be a violation of the conditional discharge. And if there's a violation of the conditional discharge, I may have to look at the alternative. That's going to be your decision.
So we may meet again in this case.
I guess it's part of this case if you're going to violate the conditional discharge. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Why doesn't it feel that way?
Thank you.